Hey, it's Joanne Musa, and this is Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, where I answer your questions about investing in tax liens and tax deeds. So, when you join me, just say hello in the comments and let me know where you're joining from so that I can best answer your question. Because investing in tax liens and tax deeds is different in every state, and it's very different in the different states, and in some states it can differ even among the counties or cities. So it's really important for me to know where you are investing, what state you're investing in. So bring it on. Let me know what your questions are, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Right now, there are a whole bunch of tax sales going on all over the country, tax deed sales and tax lien sales, and many of them are online, especially the tax deed sales. There are 14 states that have tax deed sales coming up in the next within the next month, and many of these, about 8 of them, have online sales. So there's a lot going on right now, and there are lien sales going on too, and some of those are online. So let me know what your questions are, and I'll be happy to answer them for you today. And of course, just say hello and let me know where you're coming from when you come on, because as I mentioned earlier, if you weren't here, you didn't see that part, but as I mentioned earlier, it's very different in each state. Now, one thing that is going on right now are the Michigan tax deed sales, and almost all of them are online. They're all online except for 3 counties. And there's one website that does most of the Michigan tax sales. We had a workshop on the Michigan sales in 2020 when even more of them went online. And then we did an update to that workshop just last week, last Wednesday night. If you didn't get a chance to watch the replay of that wealth building webinar that we did last Wednesday night, you can get it with the workshop. You could get both workshops for $249. And Nicole, could you put in the link, if you're here, could you put in the link for the workshop, for the Michigan workshop? Okay, hi, Ray. Ray, sorry, is interested mostly in tax deed sales, and he's from Birmingham, Alabama. Hey, Ray, how you doing? He's a frequent guest on this call, so it's good to see you again, Ray. Or see that you're here again, I should say. And interested in the tax deed sales. Well, I'll tell you, I really do like the Michigan sales because they give you a lot of information online. And what they used to do before 2020 is they would have a live sale the same time they had the online sale. So people that were at the live sale actually had the upper hand. But in 2020, they stopped doing it live. So now it's only online for the first sale. Now, like they do in some other states, if it doesn't sell in that first sale, they'll have a second sale. In the second sale, I believe they do it live and online, but the first sale is only online. Okay. All right, so I don't know if Nicole is here yet. I know we have a couple of other people on here besides Ray, so let me know who you are and what your question is about investing in tax liens and tax deeds. Now, and Nicole is here, and she just put in the comments for you the link to get the Michigan workshop. if you'd like to get the workshop. Now, the other way to get the workshop is become a member of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. Membership is $149 a month, and members get access to all the workshops that I do. I am going to change that going forward because some of these workshops are $497 courses now. So I will change that at some point, but right now, when you become a member, you get access to all the workshops, including the Michigan workshop. And you can find out more about membership at taxlienlady.com/membership. And Nicole, you could put that link in for me into the comments. And thank you, Nicole, for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, let's see. Ray is nervous about buying a house I cannot see and then get there to find a vacant lot. I do advise that whenever you're buying a tax deed or a redeemable deed, even for tax liens, that you physically look at the property or have somebody physically look at it for you. Because, yeah, you don't know if the property is still there or not. I have a client who bought a lien in an online Indiana sale. The regular Indiana, by the way, those sales are going on now, the regular tax lien sales in Indiana. And he thought there was a house on it, but it had been demolished. Okay, but it was still worth the money that he paid for the lien. And he did get the property. But it was still worth the money he paid for the lien because he only paid the taxes on the property. So he didn't have to pay any premium. In Indiana, you pay premium for liens, but nobody else wanted that lien, so he got it at 18%. Was it 18%? No, I'm sorry, the Indiana's not 18%. It is 10% and another 5% on the overbid, which he didn't have any overbid, so it was only 10%. But he didn't get the 10%. Instead, he got the property. All right, but the land was worth more than what he paid for the lien anyway. So it wasn't a big deal, but it's always good to know that, especially if you're going to a deed sale and paying premium to get that deed. Okay, I've got something on my screen right there. All righty. And Nicole has put the link in there for you guys to find out all the benefits of membership in the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. And you could join even now. The big button on that page is for the yearly membership, because when you join for the year, you actually get 2 months free. Okay. But if you want to do it monthly instead of yearly, there is a link under that big button for the monthly. Okay. Also, if you don't have my state guide, if you scroll down to the bottom of that page, there is a little link that will let you download my state guide. It's a good tool to have because it lets you know what happens in every state. Okay, and it gives you kind of a summary of what a tax lien is and a summary of what a tax deed is. And then it tells you and then it goes through every state and it gives you a summary of what happens in every state. And Philip is asking, hello, Philip, can you talk more about Indiana liens, best way to find them and research? Well, Philip, here's what I do. I have a tool that my coaching clients and members of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator get to use, and it's called Tax Sale Finders. And we use Tax Sale Finders to find out not only about Indiana, but what tax sales are coming up across the country, where they are, and we can actually look at the properties in the sale. You could get 50 property reports a month as a part of your membership to the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. And my coaching clients get access to that as well. So that's what we use. And we use it to do our research because, we use the information in those property reports. It has the assessment information. And it depends on the state. Sometimes it gives you the square footage of the property, the building, and bedrooms and bathrooms. Some states give that, some states don't. but it does give you the assessment information. So, and what type of property it is. So you know if it's commercial, residential, or vacant land. So it gives you a lot of information. And then you also get any environmental information if there's problems in the area, and mortgage information if there's a mortgage on the property. So you get a lot of information in those property reports to help you make your decision. Okay. Now Ray is asking, talk about this paying premium, because this is another reason I have hesitated, because there were all of these hedge funds bidding and buying way high when I attended live auction. What state, Ray? Are you talking about Indiana still, or is this a different state? Because bidding is different in every state. Even states that bid premium have a different way of doing it. Like in some states, you get interest on the entire premium that you bid. In other states, you don't. And in some states, you don't get your premium back. So it's really important to know what state you're talking about. And then I can address the premium. Okay, and while we're waiting for Ray to type in what state he's talking about, then, you guys think about your questions. What question do you want to ask me? That's why I'm here. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay. And again, if you're interested in Michigan, I highly recommend that Michigan workshop. And if you want to become a member of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator and get access to the workshop that way, our next coaching call, our next group coaching call for the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator is tomorrow. And it's at 2 p.m., the same time as this. Now, it's different tomorrow because I have a conflict. We have changed those calls to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time so that more people can make the live call. But for tomorrow, for this month, it is back at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, which is 11 a.m. Pacific. But next month, it will go back to 7:30 p.m. Okay. Hey, Christine, it's good to see you too. Thanks for being here. Christine has experience in the field of tax lien investing, both as a bidder years ago and as a provider of data for tax for some big companies like Lien Source and Tax Sale Resources in the past. So good to see you, Christine. Okay, and Philip is letting Ray know that he saw this in the Indiana sale. Well, in Indiana, you do get a penalty. It's actually not an interest rate, it's a penalty on your entire bid amount. Okay, so you get that money on the premium you pay. That's why I love Indiana. You also get a 5% annualized interest on the premium that is above the taxes that were due. So if the certificate amount was, let's say, $2,000, and you bid $5,000 to get it, so you bid $5,000 to get the whole thing. Okay, so that includes the $2,000. Well, there's a $3,000 difference between what the original bid amount was and what you paid. On that $3,000, you get another 5% annualized interest, and then a 10% straight penalty on the $5,000 that you bid. So it's a pretty good deal in Indiana. Okay. Yeah, Christine, I still have a state guide. And I was just telling everybody, if you go to the website that my assistant Nicole has put in the comments, it's taxlienlady.com/membership, and that tells everybody about what's included in the membership to the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. Well, at the bottom of that page, there's a little link where you could download that state guide, and I do keep it updated. Although at the rate things are going, it has to be updated all the time. I don't update it every year, but about every other year. I update that state guide. Because as you know, there's more and more states that are having online tax sales. And in the states that did have online tax sales, there's more and more counties that are doing it now than used to. But there's some states that still only do live sales. And honestly, those are the ones that I like to go to myself. So, all right. So any other questions? And I thank you guys for being here and showing up. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, is our group coaching call for the membership, anybody that's in the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. If you're not in the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator, go ahead and join now and get in on tomorrow's call, on that group coaching call. And we will probably go over how to register and bid at those Michigan tax sales that are going on now, because the good counties are coming up, guys. There's a couple of good counties that are coming up. And we went over in our update to the Michigan workshop, our 2021 update, we went over which are the good counties this year and which are the counties to stay away from this year. And Philip, you're asking, can you get a discount? If you mean on the membership, if you join for a year, you get 2 months free. That's the only discount I give on the membership, because I keep including stuff in that and there's so much in it. You've got courses in there that are worth a lot of money. So, I haven't added them all up to see exactly what you have access to, but there are courses, there are workshops ranging from $149 to $497, and there are courses ranging from like $297 to $497 that you have access to inside the members area, plus all the replays of the past trainings that we've done over the last 8 years. So there's really so much in there. Plus you get access to the wealth building webinars for the last 2 years of wealth building webinars that I've done. Okay. And Nicole has just put that link in there again where you could find the state guide. All right, so any other questions? Any other questions? And yeah, so I don't know if Ray is still with us or not, but I don't know which state he was talking about, but if it is Indiana, I don't mind paying premium in Indiana at all, because you do get interest on your premium. And the only thing you have to be careful of when you pay premium is your LTV. LTV is loan to value. So basically it stands for what you're going to pay to get that property versus what the property is worth. Okay, so it's not only what you're bidding at the sale, but in Indiana, you need to hire an attorney. So it's what you're going to pay for the attorney to do all the work that they have to do, and what you're going to pay to clear the title once you get it. And for the application, at the end of the 1-year redemption period in Indiana, you do have to do apply for the deed. You don't actually have to do a foreclosure, but there is like a judgment. So you have to pay the county for that. And then you actually get the deed, and then you have to clear the title. So you kind of roughly calculate what all those expenses are, plus the taxes that you will have to pay over the next year to get that property. Okay. And you want to make sure that your LTV is low enough. Now, everybody has, their own, risk aversion, or their own number that they want for that LTV. For some people, is 20% of the ARV. ARV is after repaired value of the home, or market value, you might say. For others, it might be lower. It might be 15%. And for others, it's higher. It's 30%. So it just depends on where you want to be. I like to be at 20%. Okay. And that's 20% of the market value of the home after it's repaired. Okay. And that, again, is not just your bid amount. It's your bid amount plus what you'll have to pay in Indiana over the next year, because it's a year redemption period over the next year until you're actually able to sell that property. All right. So any other questions? Any other questions? It's a small group today, so this is really your chance to get all your questions answered from me. Yeah, and Philip is saying, I have seen properties go for 75 to 80% of LTV. Yeah, and that is because this year that's happening. And the reason it's happening this year or this past year is because there's a shortage of investment properties on the market. There's not too many bank-owned properties on the market anymore because of COVID. You know, banks weren't able to foreclose for a long time. And then they weren't able to evict people. So there's not a lot available for investors. And so investors are clamoring to get these properties. And that's why you're seeing that 75 to 80% LTV that's only been in the past year and a half, 2 years. Okay. That will get better as more properties. See, right now it's a seller's market. But when that changes and all these bank-owned properties flood the market, that's going to change. Okay. And Philip says it's hedge funds. It might be hedge funds, but it's also individual investors, real estate investors that are trying to get properties. So you have both right now. Yeah, and the hedge funds, they're paying way too much. They're paying way too much. And I don't think those are experienced hedge funds. I think those are the less experienced, like not really big hedge funds, but the less experienced hedge funds, some of the new ones on the block. And because you can't do that for an extended period of time and make money. Okay, but they do it in states like Indiana because they know they can get interest on everything they bid, which is fine until you get the property. Okay, and then you have a hard time selling that property because you paid too much money for it. So don't compete with them just because they're doing that. Okay. So what you might have to do is go to places that they don't go or bid on the property types. Now, if you're bidding on single family homes, you're going to come up against that. So look for things that they're not interested in that are just as likely to redeem as what they're buying, because good building lots are likely to redeem. Good commercial property is more than likely to redeem. Occupied commercial property, likely to redeem. Yeah, try to look elsewhere than the single family house. Yeah, and again, Ray, this happens in places like Indiana where you get interest on everything that you bid. It also happens in places like Maryland where you don't have to pay all the premium that you bid at the sale. You only have to pay it when you get the property. Okay, but here's the thing: people bid too much because they know they don't have to pay it at the sale. They only have to pay a portion of it in Maryland. But then when it comes time and they're actually getting the property, they can't follow through because they can't get the deed until they pay all that premium that they bid. And sometimes they just bid too much, and that happens a lot in places like that in Maryland. I've also seen that happen in a city in New York, a city that sold tax liens, and you bid premium to get the lien, but you didn't have to pay the premium until you got the property. Well, there was one guy bidding there that bid everything to market price because he figured he wasn't going to have to pay it, or close to market price. But you can only do that for so long because you're going to lose. If you get the property, you're going to lose. You're not going to be able to follow through, and you're going to lose everything that you've put in. You lose your investment when that happens. Okay. All right. All right. So any other questions? Any other questions? I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to come up with more questions. In the meantime, Nicole, did we get any other questions anywhere else that we could answer here? And what else? You know, like on YouTube or Face. Sometimes we get questions on my YouTube channel or Facebook. No other questions. Okay. And is there anything else that I need to tell people about? The newsletter went out today. So yeah, look for the link look for a message from me. If you didn't get it in your inbox, look in your junk mail with the link to the newsletter for this month. Yeah, and Philip is asking, do hedge funds like larger versus smaller counties? Hedge funds like them all, Philip, but they like counties that have more valuable properties and that have higher taxes. They like properties where they get to pay more money, in other words, and where the property is more valuable. So I like to go to little out of the way places, you know, and around major cities, which is what I stay away from. They like those too. All right, so Ray says, so my focuses are 2 states for now, Michigan and South Carolina. I will be getting more money soon. Is 20,000 enough? Yeah, it's enough in both states. Or it has been in the past, but like I said, this year is going to be a little different. People are going to pay more because they're having a hard time getting properties. South Carolina, they cap it. So it shouldn't be too high in South Carolina because they will only pay out up to the lien amount. So if there's a $2,000 lien in South Carolina and the property is worth, let's say the property's worth about $50,000, and you decide you're going to pay $30,000 to get this property, and it goes the whole year redemption period. Well, they're only going to pay out $22,000 in interest because the lien amount was, or the deed amount, because it's actually a redeemable deed, was only $2,000. So they actually cap how much you can make. So that kind of lowers what people will pay for those redeemable deeds in South Carolina. But you have to watch it because, you know, some people will still pay too much. Don't follow suit if they do, and go to out of the way distressed areas. And that's where you find the good deals. I took somebody to Marlborough County back in 2019. Very distressed county. There wasn't even there was one diner. There wasn't a good restaurant. It was all like fast food places, no decent restaurant in the whole county, and no nice hotel to stay in. There was a motel that I had to stay in in the county seat where the tax sale was. And there were FEMA signs up all over the place because it had just been hit by one of the hurricanes. But we bought 4 redeemable deeds and they all redeemed. So even though it's distressed and you think some of them might not redeem, you pick the good ones. You pick the better ones and they will redeem. Hi, Eli. Do I recommend Mississippi? Yes, I do. And they're going on, most of them are going on now, this month. Some of them over to next month, but most of them will get done this month. And many of them are online. I'm not crazy about the online website that does most of the Mississippi sales, govease.com. But yeah, I do. I had a client from Louisiana who got a few liens in Mississippi. I believe they were all land, and all in a place that she was familiar with and already owned some land in. So I do like Mississippi. Okay, Ray says, I like out of the way places myself and plan to hire, oh, you plan to hire me at the right time to be your coach, I guess, huh? Well, don't wait too long, okay? Because I am now the manager of a hedge fund. And as this hedge fund gets bigger, well, it's not a hedge fund, I'm sorry, it's a private fund for accredited investors who have 100,000 or more to invest, okay? But as this fund gets bigger, my time is going to be taken up more in managing that fund and less in coaching. So don't wait too long because I'm not going to be doing it forever. Just warning, letting you know. Philip, you haven't had enough money for Indiana? I'm surprised. You know what? Go to the commissioner sales in the spring because they lower the starting bid. And I took somebody to a commissioner's sale in Lake County, Indiana in 2019. And he bought 3 or 4 liens for $15,000. So that should answer your question too, Ray, about Indiana. Although be careful in Lake County because Gary, Indiana is one of the worst cities to live in the US, okay? But there's other places in Lake that are better than Gary, Indiana. So just stay out of Gary, which by the way is where we bought, but that was 2019. And there were a lot of places that we did stay away from in Gary. Okay, and Philip is saying, I have seen very nice properties go for 70+%. I think you're talking about LTV. One down the street, 100K plus. Yeah. And hold on, guys. Let me just shut my phone off, which is ringing now. And I will finish answering your questions. Okay. And Eli, it's not that I don't recommend GovEase. It's just that they're getting better, but they're a new online platform and it's kind of cumbersome. They're getting better with this. I think now you can register directly on GovEase. Before you had to register on GovEase and then register with the county and then get approved. You might still have to do that. I don't know, but it's not one of my favorite platforms. Not that I don't recommend it, but it's just you're stuck with whatever platform they're using. But some platforms make it very easy and some don't. And they haven't been in the business that long. GovEase is a relatively new online tax sale platform. Yeah, and I do, and Eli is saying she will check Mississippi. It's difficult for her to go there. I do recommend that you invest where you know and you start in your own backyard or a nearby state or somewhere where you like to vacation or somewhere where you have relatives. Only because I think it's better to know the property values, to know what you have to look for in that area, and to be able to have somebody look at the property for you or you go look at the property before you bid. That's the best. It's not always possible. I've bid online in sales where I haven't physically gone to look at the property. And as a manager of this fund, they do online sales and they don't have somebody physically go look at the property. When it's time to foreclose, then they would, right? But they're going by the research that they do, the data that they find out about it, and the research that they do, and looking at it on Google Maps. Any specific county? I don't remember offhand, Eli. And if you want my help in finding a specific county, then I would suggest coaching with me. The first thing I do with my coaching clients is we determine what the best place for them to invest is, the best county. And then we look at the results of previous tax sales to find out if it's worth it and how much money they'll actually need. Okay, so that's something I do with coaching clients. Yeah, and Ray says for his first deal, he's okay with a cheap house in a low area, like I described. Yeah, but you just have to make sure, like what I liked about that county that in South Carolina that I went to, actually we went there because it was close for my client. The sale was coming up and it was easy for me to get to. And from where I was staying, I had relatives in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So it was only an hour away from there, and it was only 2 hours away from my client's house. He also lived in North Carolina. And then the other reason that I liked it, even though it was a depressed area, is because I saw building going on. There was building going on in there. And it was also a route that people take to get to Myrtle Beach. So, it had traffic. Because my client who lived in North Carolina would go through this county all the time when he went to Myrtle Beach, which is a different county, by the way. Okay, and Nicole had put in a link for a free session with me if you're interested in coaching, if you have at least 5,000 to invest, because if you don't have 5,000, it's really not worth it to get coaching from me. And really you should have more. If you have 20, 30,000 to invest, that's even better. I think then you'll get better results from coaching with me. And Ray, if you're a member, you get a break on the coaching. It is $5,000 for the year. Well, it's just a little bit less than that. You can also do it for 6 months. For 6 months, it's $26.97, I believe, if you do the coaching for 6 months. It also includes membership in the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator. And if you're already a member, you do get a really big break on the coaching. Okay. So any other questions? Oh, and you could go to find out more about the coaching and to see all the prices and everything. you could go to getprofitabletexliens.com, and Nicole can put that link in there for you too, getprofitabletexliens.com. And that will take you to a page that will just give you the what the coaching it consists of, what it includes, and also the links to actually get the coaching. Yeah, and the 6 month the 6 month price is very good. You can do it monthly for $4.97, but if you do it for 6 months, it's like getting 1 month free. So, and I would suggest that you at least do the 6 months, because it might take you a couple months to get ready for your first sale, and then to actually go to the sale, and then you're going to need help after you purchase a lien or deed, so that you know what to do to make sure you don't lose money and that you stay profitable, that you maximize your return, protect your investment, maximize your return. And Nicole put that link in there for you. Is there a practice site to figure out about these online sales, how to bid? Yeah, there are on some of the online platforms have a practice site. And they have like a different practice for the different states that they do. All right. So if nobody has any other questions, I think I'm going to end this Ask the Tax Lien Lady live. And again, Nicole had put a couple of links in there for you. If you want to do the coaching, you also get access to the membership. So not only do you get one-to-one coaching with me, you also get in on a group coaching call every month, which this month is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. All right, guys, thank you so much for your awesome questions. I love answering them. I hope to see you again in the first week in September. We'll be doing this again. So see you then. Bye, everybody.